The hidden language, decoding the silence. Men, you need to wake up to the reality that communication isn't just about the words coming out of a woman's mouth. It's about the underlying frequency she's operating on. If you don't learn to speak the hidden language of women, you are essentially walking through a minefield blindfolded. You are destined to lose because you're playing a game where you don't even know the rules. Most men take words at face value, but in the world of high stakes relationships, what is left unsaid is often more powerful than what is shouted. If you stay ignorant of these subtle cues, you will find yourself emotionally drained, your spirit slowly leaking out until there's nothing left but a shell of the man you once were. You'll be stripped of your dignity, not all at once, but in small, agonizing increments, until you realize you've been robbed of the purpose and the power you were meant to carry. You weren't born to be a secondary character in someone else's drama. You were born to lead your own life. But that leadership requires the vision to see through the smoke and mirrors of manipulation. Today, I'm handing you the keys to the exit and the blueprint for your own liberation. I am going to show you the dangerous phrases that serve as a direct green light to walk away without a single second thought or an ounce of hesitation. You have to understand that these aren't just random sentences or bad moods. They are psychological warning signs of a total and fundamental lack of respect. When respect is gone, the relationship is already a corpse. You're just the last one to realize it stopped breathing. Most men try to fix the words, try to argue the logic, or try to communicate their way back into her good graces. That is a loser's bracket strategy. You cannot negotiate someone into respecting you. You either command it by your presence and your boundaries, or you lose it by your tolerance of the intolerable. If you hear these phrases, the hidden language is telling you that she has already checked out. And if you don't leave first, you're just waiting around to be discarded. The Stoics, the greatest masters of the human psyche, taught us thousands of years ago that your greatest and only true possession is your own mind. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the known world, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the foundation of everything we talk about here. You cannot control what she says, how she feels, or the games she chooses to play, but you have absolute, sovereign authority over how you respond and whether you choose to stay in a toxic environment. If you choose to ignore these red flags, you aren't being patient or supportive. You are choosing psychological slavery over the freedom of self-governance. You are handing over the keys to your mental kingdom to someone who has already shown they don't value the crown you wear. Every time you excuse a disrespectful phrase, you are telling the world that your dignity is for sale and the price is remarkably cheap. We are diving deep into the psychology of these specific phrases because the truth is often uncomfortable, and most people would rather lie to you to keep you nice and compliant. But being a nice guy in the face of disrespect is just a sophisticated way of being a coward. This channel is built on the hard truths that most won't dare to whisper, let alone speak out loud. We are here to rebuild the masculine frame from the ground up, starting with the ability to identify exactly when a situation is no longer worthy of your time, your energy, or your heart. Before we break down the specific phrases that should trigger an immediate exit, hit that subscribe button. You need this information in your feed daily to counteract the noise of a world that wants you weak and confused. If you're ready to reclaim your mind and stop being a victim of the hidden language, let's begin the breakdown. 1. I don't need you. When a woman looks you in the eye and says, "I don't need you," you need to understand that this is not a statement of female empowerment or modern independence. It is a calculated declaration of war against your very existence in the relationship. Words have weight, and these specific words are designed to devalue your masculine core. A man's biological and psychological drive is to provide, protect, and lead. When she tells you that you are unnecessary, she is effectively castrating your role. No man should ever tie his soul to someone who views his presence as a disposable luxury rather than a vital necessity. In a healthy, thriving partnership, there is a beautiful concept called interdependence. The idea that two strong individuals choose to lean on one another to build something greater than themselves. If she refuses to lean, it's because she doesn't believe you are strong enough to hold her. Or worse, she's already looking for another shoulder to rest on. You have to ask yourself, why would you ever stay in a kingdom where the emperor is openly mocked by his own court? Your value isn't something that should be up for debate or negotiation. When she throws "I don't need you" in your face, she is signaling a total collapse of respect. She is telling you that if you disappeared tomorrow, her world wouldn't skip a beat. History gives us a brutal lesson here with Julius Caesar. He was a man of immense power, but he wasn't destroyed by the physical stabs of the senators. He was broken by the realization that the loyalty he relied on was a total fabrication. When she says she doesn't need you, she is revealing that her loyalty is non existent. Your response shouldn't be an argument, a plea, or a list of all the things you do for her. Your response must be silent, decisive, and immediate action. If you are truly not needed, then grant her exactly what she asked for: your total absence. Walk away and take your value where it is actually required and celebrated. 2. You deserve better. The phrase "you deserve better" is one of the most dangerous traps a man can fall into because it is wrapped in the fake packaging of selflessness. On the surface, it sounds like she's being noble, like she's sacrificing her own happiness because she cares so much about your well being. But let's pull back the curtain and look at the cold, hard reality. This is a manipulation tactic used to clear her conscience. When a woman truly loves you and recognizes your value, she doesn't give you a roadmap to her replacement. She doesn't suggest you go find a better version of her. Instead, she puts in the work to become that better version. She fights, she grows, and she adapts because the thought of losing a high value man like you is unbearable to her. If she's telling you to go find someone else, she's actually telling you that she has already given up on being the woman you need. What she is really saying is, "I don't want to put in the effort to give you my best, but I'm too cowardly to be the bad guy and break up with you properly." She is shifting the burden of the breakup onto you, making it seem like it's for your benefit so she can exit the relationship with her ego intact. Think of the fall of the Roman Empire, where weak and fleeing generals justified their retreats by claiming they were saving their soldiers for a future battle that would never happen. It was a shield for their own cowardice and lack of resolve. Don't be the man who stays in a dying relationship because you were fed excuses dressed up as care. "You deserve better" is a confession that she is no longer willing to be good for you. Don't argue with her, don't try to reassure her of her worth, and don't try to fix her. Simply believe her. Take her advice, acknowledge that she's right, and go find the woman who will fight to keep you rather than the one who is opening the door for you to leave. 3. I need to find myself. In the modern world, "I need to find myself" has become the ultimate anthem for people who want the freedom of being single without losing the accountability and safety net of a relationship. It sounds deep, spiritual, and like she's embarking on some grand journey of the soul, but in reality, it's a veiled excuse to detach from you while keeping you on the hook. True growth doesn't require abandonment. If a woman truly loved the bond you shared, she would find herself within the relationship, or she would involve you in her journey of discovery. People who love each other evolve together. They don't treat their partner like a weight that needs to be dropped so they can fly. When she says this, she is essentially saying that you are an obstacle to her happiness, and she wants the space to explore other influences. and often other men, without the guilt of being committed. Look at the great leaders of history. Alexander the Great didn't stop in the middle of a world conquering campaign to find himself. He found himself through his actions, through his battles, and through his commitment to his vision. Greatness is discovered in the doing, not in the retreating. If a woman tells you she is lost, then she is admitting she has no direction. As a man of purpose, why would you allow yourself to be led by someone who doesn't even know where she's going? You cannot afford to be a placeholder or a backup plan while she goes on a voyage of self indulgence. While she is out there trying to figure out who she is, you should be hyper focused on who you are becoming. Don't wait around for her to return from her search with a new set of excuses. Your time is your most precious resource. While she's out finding herself, you should be busy building your empire so that by the time she thinks she's found what she's looking for, you're already miles ahead and completely out of her reach. 4. You're too good for me. When a woman tells you you're too good for me, your instinct might be to protest. You might want to hold her, reassure her, and tell her that she's perfect just the way she is. But you need to stop and listen to the subtext, because this is not the compliment you think it is. This is a cold, hard confession. She is admitting, in no uncertain terms, that she cannot or simply will not rise to the level of discipline, integrity, and vision that you carry. She sees the mountain you are climbing, and instead of being inspired to lace up her boots and climb with you, she's decided the air is too thin up there. She is signaling that she would rather return to the comfort of the valley than do the work required to stand by your side. By framing it as you being too good, she cleverly flips the script. She makes your high standards and your excellence the problem that is causing the rift, allowing her to bow out while looking like the humble victim. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned us that we waste a vast portion of our lives clinging to things and people that no longer serve our higher purpose. If you accept this compliment and try to stay, you are effectively agreeing to lower your standards just to make her feel comfortable in her own stagnancy. You are apologizing for being a king in an empire you worked hard to build. Why would you ever dim your light just because it's hurting someone else's eyes? If she says you are too good for her, believe her the first time. Do not argue. Do not try to fix her self esteem. And do not negotiate your worth. Simply nod, agree, and exit with your dignity fully intact. You are far too valuable to waste your prime years on a woman who has already surrendered her own growth. When someone tells you they aren't on your level, the most masculine thing you can do is let them stay where they are while you continue your ascent. 5. I'm not ready for commitment. We need to have a moment of brutal honesty here. No woman is ever truly not ready for commitment. She is simply not ready to commit to you. This is a hard pill to swallow, but it is the only one that will cure your delusion. When a woman meets a man she truly respects, a man she admires and genuinely fears losing, every single one of her rules and timelines vanishes into thin air. She will rearrange her entire life, move cities, change her career, and face her deepest fears just to ensure that man doesn't walk out of her life. If she is telling you she needs more time or that she's working on herself, she is actually telling you that you are a placeholder. She is enjoying the perks of your presence, your attention, your resources, and your protection without giving you the one thing you've earned, her loyalty. By staying with a woman who refuses to commit, you are sending a loud and clear message to her and to the world. You are okay with being a maybe. You are accepting the responsibilities of a committed man while she retains the freedom of a single woman. You are playing a losing game where you provide the security and she provides the uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius said to stop arguing about what a good man should be and just be one. A man of honor and self-respect does not wait in the lobby of a woman's life while she decides if he's worth the entry fee. Commitment isn't a matter of timing or being in the right place. It is a matter of clarity. If she doesn't see your worth with crystal clarity right now, she never will. Every day you spend waiting for her to be ready is a day you are disrespecting your own clock. Walk away and find the woman who sees you and knows without a shadow of a doubt that she would be a fool to let you go. 6. My ex was better. The very second the words, my ex was better, or any variation of that comparison leave her lips, the relationship is dead. There is no coming back from that, and there is no working through it. Respect is the absolute backbone of any functional relationship, and comparison is a lethal injection straight into that spine. When a woman compares you to a man from her past, she is telling you that, in the private theater of her mind, you are a second rate actor playing a role meant for someone else. She has placed you beneath a ghost. And the dangerous thing about ghosts is that they don't have flaws. They only have the perfection she chooses to remember. You cannot win a fight against a curated memory. If she is weaponizing her past to diminish your present, she has already violated the most sacred covenant of a partnership, the idea that you are her chosen one. Think of Mark Antony, whose downfall was rooted in a divided loyalty that he couldn't resolve. If her heart is split between the man standing in front of her and the shadow of the man who came before, you aren't her partner. You are a consolation prize. You are the safe choice she's using to numb the pain of the one she actually wants. A brave man, a man of stoic resolve, does not compete with the past. He doesn't try to out-earn, outperform, or outstyle a memory. He recognizes that if he has to compete for the top spot in his own relationship, he has already lost. Comparison is the ultimate form of disrespect because it strips away your individuality and turns you into a commodity. If she thinks her ex was better, give her the freedom to go back to him or find someone like him. Do not settle for being the runner up in your own life. Turn your back on the competition and walk toward a future where your value is undisputed and your throne is shared with no one. 7. You need to change. When a woman looks at you and tells you, you need to change, you have to be sharp enough to distinguish between a call for growth and a demand for erasure. There is a massive fundamental difference between a partner who encourages you to sharpen your skills, improve your health, or refine your character, and a woman who is attacking the very pillars of your identity. If she is taking aim at your core values, your masculine energy, or the long-term vision you have for your life, she isn't looking for a better version of you. She is looking for a version of you that is easier for her to control. She's not trying to help you climb the mountain. She's trying to convince you that the mountain doesn't exist, so you'll stay in the house with her. The moment you begin to compromise your soul and shave off the edges of your personality just to keep the peace or earn her approval, you have already lost the battle. The great irony of the masculine experience is that the second you change your identity to please her, she will lose the very respect you were desperately trying to save. She might say she wants you softer or less ambitious, but if you give her what she asks for, she will eventually despise you for the weakness you displayed by complying. You have to realize that when a woman demands these fundamental shifts, she doesn't actually want a partner. She wants a project. She is looking for a man she can mold like clay, someone she can sculpt into a shape that fits her specific insecurities or social expectations. But a man who can be molded is a man who cannot lead. A man who bends his spine every time his woman is unhappy with his nature is a man who has no backbone to support his family, his business, or his own destiny. Leadership requires a certain level of unshakable stubbornness, a commitment to a set of principles that do not shift based on the weather or someone else's mood. Seneca, the great Stoic teacher, taught that no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, because without it, he never has the opportunity to prove his own strength. When she tells you to change who you are at your core, that is your adversity. That is your moment of truth. Are you a man of iron who stands firm in his convictions? Or are you a man of straw who scatters the moment the wind blows? Standing firm in the face of her pressure is the ultimate test of your masculine frame. If she cannot love you for the man you are at your center, the man with the drive, the man with the specific quirks, the man with the unyielding vision, then she doesn't actually love you at all. She loves the fantasy of what she thinks she can turn you into. She loves the idea of having a custom made man who does exactly what she says and thinks exactly how she wants. This is not a relationship. It is a power struggle where the prize is your autonomy. A woman who truly respects you will challenge you to meet your own standards, not hers. She will be the wind in your sails, not the anchor dragging you back to the shore. The modern world has tried to convince men that compromise means abandoning your mission for the sake of a quiet house. But that is a recipe for a lifetime of resentment and a slow death of the spirit. You were not put on this earth to be someone's fixer upper or to spend your energy apologizing for your existence. If the price of her love is the death of your identity, the cost is too high. The only real, meaningful change you need to make in that situation is a change of scenery. You need to change your relationship status to single and walk away. Because a man who trades himself for a woman's comfort will eventually find himself with neither. Protect your core, keep your vision intact, and never, ever negotiate the essence of who you are.